An HOA boss bursts through my cabin door while I'm chilling with the state's top lawyer. She just broke 6 big laws right in front of the person who can lock her up. Wood flying everywhere, her fancy shoes crunching on glass. The full crazy show. This lady in her pricey jacket, smelling like strong perfume that costs more than my truck bill, charges into my grandpa's cabin, yelling about rules and who owns what, like she's the boss. No idea who she's messing with, no clue she's filming. Her own ticket to jail for 3,000 people online. 6 months before, I figured Karen was just a bossy neighbor on a power trip. Turns out she was stealing $4 million and I was gonna wreck her whole bad guy setup by accident. What would you do if a crazy HOA person crashed your private spot during your biggest meeting ever? Tell me in the comments and say where you're watching from. I bet half of you have dealt with these neighborhood bosses before. Let me rewind and tell you how this mess kicked off. 6 months ago, life was awesome. My name's Marcus. Henley, I'm 52. After 30 years digging in mud, setting up power lines in 3 areas, I finally retired. The best part? My grandpa's fishing cabin on Clearwater Lake, 2 acres of total bliss that old Pop got in 1963 for $800. Can you believe it? $800 for land by the lake that's now worth more than most homes. This wasn't some big fancy house, you know. We're talking logs cut by hand, a stone fireplace Pop made with his rough hands, and a porch with screens that creak just right. I'd kept it off the main power on purpose, with solar panels buzzing softly on the roof, well water that tastes like kid days, and a waste system that works better than city ones. The mist coming up from the lake each morning showed why Pop picked this spot. He used to say, "The land picks you, not the other way around." Smart guy. He also said, "Marcus, when someone wants your land bad, find out why. It's usually worth more than they say." Then she showed up, Delilah Cromwell, but everyone called her that HOA crazy lady, came into our quiet lake spot like a storm in fancy clothes. Years old, fresh from some California neighborhood where being the boss was her full job. She drove this shiny white big SUV with plates that said Rule 1. I'm not kidding. And she wore her HOA boss badge on her jacket like a cop's star. The woman had one. Goal: turn our simple lake area into what she called a fancy resort spot. But here's what I didn't know then. 3 old couples had already sold their cabins to buyers in just 2 months after she got here. Weird timing, right? Her first attack came on a Tuesday morning. I'm on Pop's porch, sipping coffee, watching 2 birds teach their babies to dive, when I hear sharp clicks on my wood dock, fancy heels, at 7 a.m. on my own land. Minutes later, she's sticking this official paper on my screen door. Violation notice. Ugly dock hurting neighborhood home prices. Fine. $500. Fix it in 72 hours or pay more each day. I had to read it twice. My old dock, the one Pop and I fixed when I was 12, was suddenly a big problem messing up everyone's property worth. Being a nice guy, I went over to tell her my land was here 40 years before the HOA. You know what she said, standing in my driveway with hands on hips like she owned it? "Everyone on this lake answers to me, sweetie. Ask the Hendersons how fighting me went for them." The Hendersons, my old neighbors, who'd suddenly decided to move last month after 23 years here. The clues weren't connecting yet, but something felt wrong in my gut. That's when she started taking photos, walking around my cabin like a house seller, snapping pics of my solar panels, my veggie garden, even Pop's hand-carved porch rails. The smell of her car air freshener from her running SUV made me sick. By week's end, I had 3 more notices, each with bigger fines, each making it clear Delilah Cromwell was at war with everything my family built here. I thought I was dealing with a typical bossy neighbor. Annoying, yeah, but I could handle it. What I didn't know was I'd just become a target in a way bigger, scarier game than simple HOA stuff. Pop's words stuck in my head. Find out why they want your land. I was about to learn why, and it would change it all. Karen didn't wait to bring out the big stuff. Days after my fixed deadline passed, 'cause no way was I tearing down Pop's dock for some fake boss, a special letter came that ruined my coffee. Stop order. Breaking community water rules. The top said Blackstone, Meyer, and Associates. One of those fancy lawyer groups where they charge more per hour than I earned in a month. The legal words basically said my dock was sticking into shared water illegally, and I owed $3,000 in old fines. Plus, they'd put a hold on my land if I didn't pay in 10 days. My first thought was freak out. These folks had lawyers. I had tools and a mad mood. But then I remembered what Pop taught me on fishing trips. Marcus, when someone's using legal talk to take your land, the real truth is in the county papers. Never trust what they say. Go get the real docs. So I drove to the county building, that dusty basement where old stuff hides under piles of office junk. The clerk, nice lady named Betty who knew Pop from his fishing contests, helped pull the old land maps. I'd learned this from my work days. Always check the original papers before some fancy person tricks you. What I found made me super mad. My grandpa's land didn't stop at the water. It went 50 feet into the lake. The 1963 paper was clear and official. That dock wasn't on shared land. It was right in my part of the lake. But the big surprise, the HOA started in 1998, 35 years after Pop bought it. I remembered my old boss saying old lands often have special rights that new groups can't touch. Something about old rules that beat. Show nonsense. With copies in hand, I went back to my cabin feeling good. That good feeling lasted until I tried to go for food and saw Karen's SUV parked across my driveway. Not next to it, not close, right blocking it like a one-person road stop. When I tapped her window, she rolled it down a tiny bit. "Oh, Marcus, I'm just checking community parking rules. This might take time." The hum of her running engine mixed with that sweet fake air smell made this weird bubble of mean craziness. Here I was, a grown man who'd set up half the area's power, stuck in my own driveway by a mom with a boss issue. But Karen was just starting. In a week, she'd made something called the Lakeside Beauty Committee, which sounds nice until you see it's a group targeting anyone not fitting her fancy vision. Suddenly, neighbors who'd waved at me for years crossed the street to avoid me. Her online posts were sneaky mean attacks. Worried about ugly properties hurting all our home prices? Some people don't care about the community. Our Lakeside strong. Protect property values. The comments went wild. People I'd known forever were suddenly rule experts, repeating Karen's words like she was a genius. 3 neighbors said sorry to me in private. Tom and Susan Martinez pulled me aside on my walk and admitted Karen pushed them to complain about my place or get their own notices. She'd already bugged old Mr. Peterson for wrong flower boxes and threatened the young family with the baby over their playground stuff. "She's got dirt on everyone," Tom whispered, looking around like Karen might be in the bushes with a camera. Her husband works at the state building, connected, political things. That hit me hard. This wasn't just neighbor drama. This woman had power beyond our lake. That night, I found orange paint on my mailbox. Big messy words, comply or leave. My hidden solar camera caught it all, including Karen's car plates as she drove off at 2:30 a.m. When I called the cops next morning, guess who came? Deputy Chad Cromwell, Karen's nephew. He looked at the mess, shrugged, and said, "Probably kids. You know how they are." The rough feel of that paint as I scrubbed it felt like it scratched my heart. Pop used to say, "Sometimes you need bigger help for a bigger fight. Time to find bigger help." Karen's next trick came dressed as helping the community, which made it even madder. She'd seen straight fights weren't working, so she used the whole county offices against me. It started with a knock from building checker, Dale Morrison, a guy I'd worked with before. The sorry look on his face said it all before he spoke. "Marcus, I'm real sorry, but someone complained about unallowed buildings on your land. I have to check." Hours later, Dale had looked at every bit of my cabin with his notes and tape. His end. Everything was not only okay, but better than rules say. Pop built strong. Whoever complained, Dale said while packing, either doesn't know, or is just wasting time. Next day, Environment Lady Janet Bennett came checking if my waste system was dirtying the lake. Again, working perfect. Better than new ones, she said. Then Fire Boss Bob Rodriguez checked my solar for danger wires. All good there, too. Each check took a day of my calm and some of my retirement peace. But worse, each fake report made official papers that made me look like a troublemaker. I remembered my work rep warning about office harassment. It looks real even when it's mean. While I handled the checks, Karen played her news game. She got on Channel 7's community show, acting like a worried person protecting our family lake. The story was sneaky edited. She showed pics that made my cabin look junky, talked about dangers to kids, and acted like a hero against bad owners. What boiled my blood, her standing on my dock, the one she said was illegal, giving her speech for cameras. My phone buzzed, with mad texts from neighbors who'd seen it like rapid shots. Half the lake thought I was a nature bad guy now, but here's where Karen messed up first. She got too grabby. My old work pal, Jake Martinez from the electric group, called after the news. "Marcus, that lady's full of lies, and we all know it. You build half the clean power in this area. Your solar is what I show new workers. In 2 days, Jake got 20 expert electric guys to come check my place. Having them say my work is great shut down." Her danger story fast. That's when stuff got fun. My lawyer friend Chuck Davis, from high school days, came for a beer and said something that grabbed my ear. "You know, Marcus, the top state lawyer's office is checking HOA bad stuff across the state. Lots of places report harassment like yours." "What kind?" I asked, though I think I knew. Old homeowners getting fake notices, home prices pushed down on purpose, mystery buyers grabbing cheap. Sound familiar? It rang all my bells. Chuck said these tricks usually have someone with political ties hiding it while harassment pushes out old owners. Properties get sold to builders for big money. The office wants people who've written down the harassment and can show the pattern. Someone like you. The hum of my fridge seemed extra loud as that sank in. Karen wasn't just a bossy neighbor. She was part of something big and planned. That night, I started a list of every talk, every notice, every check that popped up. I also dug into Karen's past. Turns out her husband, Robert Cromwell, wasn't a small state worker. He was the party money boss, with access to building plans, rule changes, and favors in many areas. The smell of fresh coffee with lake air usually relaxed me, but now it reminded me what I could lose. This wasn't about fees anymore. This was if I'd be the next one in someone's quick money plan. Karen's next step made before stuff looked like a friendly chat. She'd decided office harassment was too slow, so she went to full attack on my name. It started with an online post that hit my stomach, urgent, safety, worry about mean actions from Lake resident, keep kids away from East Side, will file for protection. Lakeside safety, protector kids, mean actions. Me, the guy who ran the kids' fishing event for 15 years. In hours, that post got shared 43 times. Comments became a mob of strangers thinking I was a crazy danger. Based on Karen's fake victim story, I always thought he was weird. Heard he threatened an HOA person. Good thing brave folks like Delilah watch out. The gross part, half the comments from fake profiles with stock pics, the kind bad guys use to spread lies louder. Karen wasn't just lying. She was running a pro-smear job. Days later, she asked for a court order to stay away. The paper, now public, said I was unstable and making threats to leaders. Total lie. But it didn't matter. The filing alone made me look bad. Judge Patricia Hriss, who knew my family, looked at Karen's proof and tossed it for no real facts. But the harm was done. Now there was a court paper with my name and threats. The feelings were wearing me down. I'd sit on Pop's porch evenings drinking beer, wondering if the fight was worth ruining my peaceful retirement I'd earned over 30 years. The heavy feel of his chair now seemed like duty to keep his memory that someone was trying to wipe out. But just when I thought of quitting, something great happened. The neighbors started fighting back. Judge Hendricks wasn't the only one who remembered us. Retired Judge William Bill Carter, who fished with Pop in the 70s, came with coffee and free law tips. Marcus, that woman's playing a game your grandpa would spot. She's betting you'll feel alone and beat. Don't let her win. Bill said harassment like this usually means bigger crimes. People don't try this hard over small fights. There's big money. The local vets group, where I'd been for 20 years, put out words calling Karen's claims fake attacks on a good member. The history group talked up my cabin as important, one of the last old ones on the lake. Even the lake water watchers praised my green living way. It felt like the good part of our area was teaming up for me. The bad taste of worry was turning to hope. But Karen wasn't finished. Not even close. Her next trick was sneaky simple. She got the power company to check weird stuff in my electric. For 3 days, no power while they looked at my solar tie-in for dangers, then fake cop calls, suspicious stuff at my cabin in daytime, loud sounds like family fights when I was alone, possible drugs from many visitors who were just work pals showing support. Each call brought cops to my door, each made a report, each added to files making me look bad. The maddest part, Deputy Chad Cromwell usually came. He'd ask quick questions and leave with a smirk like he knew his aunt's game. During one weird visit, he even said, "You know, Mr. Henley, if you just said sorry to my aunt and fixed your place, all this might stop." That's when I saw this wasn't just me. Karen was showing others what happens if you don't obey. The Hendersons probably went through this nightmare before selling. My phone pings became scary instead of fun. Each alert could be another neighbor against me, another fake report, another turn in Karen's mind game, but it also brought help messages from people I forgot knew me. The fight wasn't over, but I was learning the rules. The big find came while doing boring paperwork for my meeting with the top state lawyer's office. Chuck set it up, saying they needed full notes for their statewide HOA bad check. I was at Pop's oak table with piles of notices, check reports, and legal threats when I spotted something. One of Karen's notices had a small bottom note I'd ignored. Fines paid to Lakeside Estates Community Improvement Fund, account 847291, Community Improvement Fund. Sounded real, but it bugged me, maybe from 30 years spotting sneaky parts in work papers. I decided to check more. The county office was like my hangout now. So Betty knew what I wanted when I asked for HOA money papers. She spread them out like cards. "Here's the thing, Marcus," she said, fixing her glasses. "Homeowner groups must file yearly reports like any group. Let me show what I found." The numbers were way off. Over 2 years, the HOA took $280,000 in emergency fees for dock fixes that never happened. Another $150,000 for yard work from Cromwell Grounds and Maintenance, owned by Karen's brother-in-law per state papers. But big, the yard company started exactly 3 weeks after Karen became boss. I remembered Pop's tip on following money. When someone makes a business right after getting power, it's usually to send cash to themselves. The insurance claims were obvious bad. The HOA asked for storm fix money 3 times in 18 months. Problem, I'd seen every storm, and none matched. The damage for 95,000 payouts. Betty helped match claims to real weather reports. Dates were wrong. HOA claimed storms on clear days. "Marcus," Betty whispered, though we were alone. "This looks like stealing. Plain stealing." My hands shook, copying it all. The smooth paper felt like holding proof that could fix everything. This wasn't just bugging. This was planned theft from the whole lake group. The management fees were the last clue. HOA paid $5,000 a month to Clearwater Property Solutions for office work. But the business address was a mailbox near Karen's home. It all fit like a lock clicking. Karen's attacks weren't just for power or hate. She was pushing down home prices for a building plan while stealing from the group fund. The old couples who sold weren't just bugged out. They sold cheap because Karen's fake worries scared real buyers. Those cash buyers were likely tied to the same builders getting the stolen cash. I thought of the Hendersons, maybe pinching pennies in a small place, not knowing they got robbed. Twice. Once selling low, once paying into Karen's fund. Black coffee never tasted so bad. This wasn't my cabin only. Karen stole from everyone, even those she turned against me. Pop said corruption is usually bigger than you think. He was right. Karen wasn't running an HOA. She was running a crime group, and I was going to give the proof to the state person who could stop it for good. That night, I turned Pop's back room into a cop-like setup. Maps on walls showing old landlines versus HOA claims. Timelines of Karen's attacks next to weird money moves. Pics, recordings, papers sorted by possible crimes. I felt like a TV cop, but chasing suburban thieves instead of killers. The state lawyer's office gave me 2 case handlers, Sarah Mitchell and David Bennett, who came next morning looking serious. Sarah was a sharp woman in her 40s, like safety checkers from my jobs. David was younger, early 30s, but intense like he'd jailed many fancy crooks. "Mr. Henley," Sarah said, spreading papers on Pop's table, "what you found is way more than HOA bugging. This is planned stealing that could hurt dozens of families." David used a tablet to link stuff I missed. "We've checked like schemes in 4 areas. Pattern same. Connected people use HOA spots to mess prices while stealing funds." That's when they told me about FBI help. Agent Rebecca Torres from Fancy Crime Unit tracked building fraud in the area. My papers were the missing link for many cases. The good thing about money crimes, Agent Torres said on video, is they leave tracks. Your HOA shows classic washing money, fake bills, dummy companies, insurance lies. But we need more than papers. We need people who saw it and recordings of crimes happening. Chuck had linked with 17 other Lake families who'd been bugged too. When we met at the vet's hall, their tales made me mad. The Thompsons paid $8,000 in fake fines before selling 30% cheap. The Garcias hit with $12,000 emergency fees for lake fixes that didn't happen. Old Mrs. Patterson got so scared by Karen's legal threats, she moved to her daughters in Florida, leaving her 43-year home. Every story same. Growing bugging, made-up rules breaks, pushed to sell, and all paid into that fund that was Karen's pocket. "Here's what most don't get about HOA stealing," said retired money guy Frank Weber, who helped. "Check records. HOAs must file tax forms yearly if they make enough. Real ones do. Bad ones don't, 'cause it shows stealing." Frank found our HOA skipped proper taxes for 2 years despite tons of fees. That could add federal tax dodging charges. The planning felt like an army move. We had money proof, people stories, recordings, fraud docs. But Agent Torres wanted big. Catch Karen doing crimes now. "The best for a strong case," she said, "is set up where the bad guy does crimes caught by cops live. We need her to blame herself on camera." That's when Chuck suggested the setup. "The top lawyer wants to announce new HOA rules. What if at Marcus's cabin? Perfect symbol. Protecting rights where they got broken." Sarah liked it. "And if Karen acts, like always, she'll try to stop any weird stuff at Marcus's place. Her control need will beat her smarts." We spent a week prepping what Agent Torres called a controlled face-off. Hidden pro cameras in my cabin, secret cops around the lake, many cop groups ready to jump in, community group grew, local news ready for big story, online plans to fight Karen's lies, help nets for after. My old work training helped. Plan for every what if, have backups. We had backups for backups. The trap was ready. Karen's ways were so guessable we could almost write her moves. All we had to do was wait for her to kick the door, literally. Karen must have felt trouble coming, 'cause her acts went from smart bugging to wild wrecking, like a trapped animal fighting harder. First sign. My solar panels broke weird on Tuesday morning. I'd wake to dead power and error lights. When Jake checked, he found messing. Wires loosened just to break without clear marks. "Marcus, this is pro. Wrecking," Jake said, taking pics. "Whoever knows wires." Wanted trouble without fingerprints. But Jake was smart. He'd put a hidden camera by the panel after first time. 2 nights later, we caught her on tape, sneaking at 3 a.m. with tools. Clear footage. Karen Cromwell, HOA boss, wrecking private stuff in dark. Her cigarette smoke smell mixed with pine in morning air. Next, my boat dock. I went to town for food. Came back to my boat floating mid-lake. Chains cut clean with big cutters, metal bits on planks. That boat was Pop's favorite, a 1978 one still great. Seeing it scratched on rocks felt like hurting his memory. But Karen's worst, messing my waste system. It had passed checks fine, but suddenly backed up bad. Horrible smell, sewage and chemicals burning eyes from far. Septic pros found strong cleaner poured in, killing good bugs, making toxic mess. "This is on-purpose wreck," the guy said, showing dirt samples. "Someone put pro acids in. Costs money, needs know-how. Repair, $3,200. But key, tests showed it was planned, not random." While I fixed sewage, Karen did media attacks. Fake accounts. Posted about my rule breaks and bad conditions hurting safety. Bots obvious, same complaints from fake names fast. She upped scare team. Deputy Chad drove by my cabin 4 to 5 times daily, slowing to watch. Sometimes sat in driveway checking visitor cars. Building checker suddenly found problems in stuff that passed weeks ago. Fire boss got tips on fake fire dangers. Environment got dumping reports on cleared areas. It was slow kill by many small office hits to tire me and break me. But I wasn't alone. Karen hit my helpers too. Jake's work license got checked for safety issues. Bill Carter got a bar complaint for giving tips. Vets post-face surprise fire check threatening their games. History group got zoning gripes. Karen was hitting anyone who helped me, saying, "Help him and you're next." The mind pressure was tough. Every day, new problems, emergencies, office nightmares. Stress tastes like metal with my coffee. But her wildness made chances. Each wreck documented by cops. Each gave more crime proof. Her friends were backing off as she got crazier. State lawyers watched, building strong case as Karen made worse choices. Agent Torres called it classic bad guy ramp-up. When trapped, they do dumb stuff that helps catch them. Karen walked into our trap, one wrecked panel at a time. Karen's last try was so bold it almost worked. Through her husband's ties, she learned I was meeting the top state lawyer herself. Instead of stopping, she went all out. Her plan, act. Like victim of political plot, say the top prosecutor targeted her family for party reasons. If she recorded facing corruption at my cabin, she could twist the story to be a hero whistleblower. First clue, online. She contacted a blogger group on government overreach. Her story, small HOA boss persecuted by big gov 'cause her husband in other party. Headline, local family attacked, state uses bugging to quiet opposition. Story made me a secret agent with bad lawyers destroying innocent family. Comments full of mad from strangers, sure Karen was wronged. She tapped rural anti-gov feelings, making herself a hero for fighting back. But her best, live video setup. She'd broadcast bursting into my meeting, calling it real-time news exposing bad gov. What she didn't know, we watched her talks. Agent Torres had court okay for her phone and online weeks ago. We knew the blogger plan, video idea, even her speech lines. "It's perfect," Agent Torres said in last meeting. "She'll do crimes on live video, giving us her own blame words. We couldn't plan better?" Funny. Karen thought she set the trap, but it was hers, the best recorded HOA bust ever. Her helpers were leaving, but she didn't see. Other HOA folks backed off when money weirdness showed. Her husband faced his own check. No more help. Even Deputy Chad got moved after questions on his work. But Karen was past thinking straight. Keeping her stealing hidden while fighting probes broke her. She was paranoid, thinking neighbors spied, making threat calls, sure of big plot against her. Night before the visit, she called 4 families threatening bad if they kept helping Gov bugging. Each call recorded by cops. Each added proof of scaring, witnesses, and bad plotting. I spent that night on Pop's porch, watching sunset color the lake gold and red. Loons calling reminded why to fight. Tomorrow would decide if I'd enjoy peaceful nights or fight Karen's jail appeals. The cabin felt different, with hidden gear, but it was center of bigger than my fight. This was if connected crooks could scare communities free. I read Pop's old book with his note on little guy versus big. Sometimes little wins 'cause fighting for more than self. Morning would bring Karen's last wild move. She'd burst in thinking, to wreck us, not knowing she'd wreck herself. Stage set, cameras on, cops ready. Just wait for Karen's big end to her crime life. Anticipation with coffee never so sweet. Attorney General Patricia Williamson wasn't what I thought. Not scary politician, but down-to-earth woman in 50s like my old school boss. Tough but fair, eyes seeing all. She got to my cabin at 9 a.m. with coffee and case of proof that would change all. "Mr. Henley," she said, sitting in Pop's chair like, "Home? Your papers helped us make cases against HOA bad rings in 6 areas. What you found isn't local stealing. It's statewide organized theft. We were talking deep on charges when we heard it. Karen's SUV roar into driveway too fast, rocks flying like a chase, doors slam, voices yelling on camera spots and sound. Karen brought her whole video team for what she thought was her win. "Here we go," Agent Torres whispered from her hide spot by woodshed. Attorney General didn't move. She kept noting money proof while Karen's voice got loud, pumping up for her live fans. "This is it, folks," Karen's voice came through windows. "We're exposing corruption targeting our family. The state top lawyer is secretly meeting our harasser, probably planning more Gov persecution." Her fancy shoes clicked hard on my porch like a timer to her mess. Her mess, not mine. Crash. Door burst in like she rammed it, wood bits everywhere. The Attorney General's mug smashed on floor perfect. Karen charged into living room with phone up, live filming, no clue she'd just done illegal entry, breaking in, attack, right before. "The state's top cop. I demand to know why the Attorney General is secretly meeting this man," she yelled, waving phone like a gun. "This is gov-bugging political attack. I have rights." The look when Attorney General stood and showed ID was gold. Karen's video caught her brain freeze in fear. "Mrs. Cromwell," the Attorney General said calm, the tone that scares real crooks. "I am Patricia Williamson, Attorney General of this state. You just did multiple big crimes in front of me, and your whole act is recorded by my office and your own online show." Karen's phone still live, her fans watching their hero turn to mumbling mess. Comments went nuts with shock as people saw they'd backed a crook blowing up public. This is my community." "I have jurisdiction here," Karen stuttered, still thinking her HOA badge beat state cops. That's when FBI agent Torres stepped in with 2 others. "Mrs. Cromwell, you're arrested for stealing, forcing, scaring witnesses, and bugging. And thanks to your live, we have your blame to 3,000 people." Handcuff clicks echoed in my cabin like ending a story. Karen's phone dropped, still filming her bust to fans now horrified watchers of a breakdown. "Karen," I said, standing, from Pop's couch with a happy grin. "Meet the state's Attorney General. She's wanted to talk your money ways." Neighbors, drawn by noise, stood on porch quiet as the woman who'd scared us for months got her rights read in my room. Mrs. Patterson, back from Daughters for this, cried tears. Sheriff Rodriguez came for the walk to car. Karen tripping in cuffs past the dock she tried to kill, past solar she called danger, past cabin she said ugly, her shiny SUV with Rule 1 plates towed as proof in stealing case. The live ended with Karen's voice across lake. "This isn't over. My husband will fix." "You don't know who." "Actually, Karen, we knew. A crook. And crooks go to jail." Watching Karen's sentence 3 months later felt like holiday joy. Federal Judge Michael Harrison didn't just punish, he hit hard. 3 years in Fed jail, $340,000 payback to robbed owners, lifetime ban from any HOA board in U.S. Her husband Robert next. His check showed he used party money job to give inside tips on rules and plans. He quit shamed, got 18 months for plotting, and bad use of job. The HOA ended quick as sugar in hot drink. Instead, we made Clearwater Lake Volunteer Group. Stress on volunteer. No must-pay fees, no notice power, no bossy leaders, just neighbors teaming to keep our spot nice. My part in showing the bad earned surprise. Whistleblower pay from got-back stolen cash. When you help feds get back thousands, they share nice. That $45,000 check felt like payback for every bad night Karen caused, but real win, justice spreading. Attorney General used our case for new state rules. I can't believe named after me. The Henley Act makes all HOAs get yearly outside money checks and punishes bugging for land tricks. 3 other areas used our proof to bust like rings. Karen's was part of bigger connected crooks robbing owners in rural spots. FBI report found over 24 tied cases in 5 states. Families pushed out came back. Henderson's bought new cabin near mine after their old one's fake low price was fixed. Mrs. Patterson back from Florida threw party till sunup. Property prices not just fixed, went up. Turns out no harassment makes people want to live here. Who knew? Change more than law wins. Our lake became example for green group living. My off-power cabin, once Karen's ugly target, now does monthly. Visits for solar and nature fans. State Nature Group showed us in their Clean Power program. I started Pop's Legacy Scholarship with some whistleblower cash, $500 for kids in trade schools. Pop believed handwork was honest life base, fit to help next kids learn that. The yearly Clearwater Lake Festival is big draw, raising cash for vet homes. Last year enough for 3 small homes for no-home vets. Barbecue smell and family laughs. Replaced Karen's bad vibe, but best. Quiet times. I'm on Pop's porch now, watching sunset color lake gold and purple. Loons calling across water, echoing hills where Pop taught me fishing 60 years ago. My solar hums quiet on roof, powering my free life again. No more special letters, no checks, no fancy shoes on my dock at dawn. Just waves on old wood and knowing. If you're tough and right, little guy can beat big bad. The Netflix crew done filming last month. HOA Hell, how one man took down a criminal empire out next spring. They paid enough for guest cabin where other bugged folks can stay while fighting. 'Cause Karen not alone. Bossy HOA types terrorize old owners and steal funds everywhere. But now there's a fight plan. Now tell me yours. Share your HOA bad story in comments. You're not alone. These need telling. Hit subscribe for more on every day. Folks beating bad systems. Lots more coming. Next week, the city guy who tried closing a vet's food truck till owner's army pals visited. Thanks for joining HOA Stories, where bossy Karens get beat. If this had you cheering or wincing, like the video, comment your thoughts, and subscribe for next wild tale.